Good morning. I haven't done a garden tour for a while, so I thought I would give you a little tour. It's Saturday morning. It's a little gloomy. It looks like it could rain. It feels like it could rain, so we will see. I am Dana. This is Growing Dreams Homestead, and I am growing in Indiana, Zone 6A, right on the edge of it being 5B. But yeah, so let's see what's going on. Alright, so here is my lovely garden. So a couple weeks ago we dug 2 rows of potatoes, so those are empty except for some cabbages that I transplanted. I really need to do the potatoes that are in this bed around the edges of the kale because they have died back. Those are red Lesota potatoes, so I need to dig them up, and then these potatoes are dying back as well. I think I'll give them a little bit more time to put on some more size because the ones I dug on the opposite bed, they were a little small. There was a lot of them though, and they were really good. So, all right, then we have our rogue gourd patch here. These came up from me feeding them to the chickens. I had the chickens in this area all last winter, so I did get some surprises and volunteers, which is cool. Also in this bed there are carrots. You can see there is some lettuce at the end, and it is going to seed. It's been so hot. And then also some spinach down there. So we're gonna go ahead and let them go to seed. Hopefully here in a couple weeks I can start my fall garden when things are a little cooler. Over here we have a bed of carrots that are doing wonderful. On the end I have radishes. I'm letting these go to seed. I have seen that their pods taste like super delicious, so I want to try some. So we're going to let them go to seed and make pods. Have some calendula here at the end of this potato bed. It's beautiful. It's very medicinal. You can use it to make salves and skincare products, and it's pretty. Over here we have our cabbages. I did have to pull one the other day because those cabbage worms were on it. So I've redusted everything with diatomaceous earth. They got a hold of my broccoli pretty bad. It was like in one day. I came out one day and my broccoli was looking great. Came out the next day and it had been destroyed. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna see if I can get a few little small bunches after you cut the big bunch. See, these little bunches will come on, and they're still good. So all right, next is my peppers. So my peppers are looking really good. I'll show you. Here is a purple pepper. I've picked one so far. It was a really good size. And when I cut it open, it's like a green pepper inside. It tasted like a green pepper. And also, when I cooked it, the purple all went away and it just turned green. But they're pretty cool to grow. So there's another purple one in there. My next pepper bed, I have bells, and they are green, yellow, orange, and red bells. So they're all still green right now, but then I have some jalapenos. They are doing really well. My hot waxies are just loaded with peppers. If you've ever watched me, you know I love my hot waxies. I love them pickled. They're so good. Throw them on cheeseburger. Oh my goodness. All right, then we have our tomatoes. So the Florida weave did not work out great. They are so full and so loaded, they're breaking the twine. So at this point, I'm just trying to kind of contain them. They're falling all towards this back of the garden because this is kind of on a slope. So I'm just trying to contain them. I don't have any red ones unless I miraculously find some while I'm out here today. But the 3 beds that I did the Florida weave on are all my San Mazzaro and Roma tomatoes for sauce. and they are all really, really full of tomatoes. So I'm just going to keep trying to contain them and keep them upright. And, you know, we learned they're too heavy. I got to use heavier twine or a different method. Then this wall of tomatoes, as you can see, is probably about 7 foot tall. That tallest sunflower is probably at least 8 or maybe 9 foot tall. On this end, I have Abe Lincolns, and then there are cherry tomatoes, and then at the very end are my sun sugars, which are so good. So cherry tomatoes usually turn first, so I'm waiting on them to start turning, hopefully soon. Then over here in the cages, I have our beefsteak tomatoes. They are loaded. I mean, cages always seem to do fairly well because they are strong, and you know, they can hold up the weight of all these massive tomatoes. And then we get into the jungle land. These are all the Birdhouse Gourds, which have taken over this whole area and are now growing up the back fence. There's beans on that as well, and then also cucumbers down on that end. We'll walk around in a second. And then on this side is the spaghetti squash, which have also just went wild. So I planted 6 of each. This is my first time growing them, so I'm gonna make a note, don't grow 6 of each unless you have a huge space, because they are just nuts. So on the back side of this fence are my watermelon beefsteaks, and look at the size of this. I mean, these are some really good sized tomatoes. There's some huge ones down through here. It's hard to see. Just trying to contain them to the fence with string because they are so heavy, which is a good problem to have. Then in here is my zucchini and squash. It is probably up to my chest. It is huge. I've been picking zucchini and squash every day. There are some volunteer tomatoes in there, and also my big sunnies looking over everybody. They're so pretty. I did companion plant my zucchini and squash with radishes, nasturtium, and marigolds, and so far so good. No squash bugs. We're gonna walk around the other side here so I can show you in there. It's hard to find a place to walk through because everything is just wild. When I made this, my paths looked big and my beds looked small, and it's kind of second guessing, and now I'm like, ooh, there's nowhere to walk. So there's some squash flowers on this side. As you can see, I have no room to get back there. I squeeze through, but I'm not going to do it with the camera. There's also some volunteer tomatoes over there. But yeah, everything looks super good. Very, very beautiful. We're going to walk to the other side and go up this way where I can walk easier. We're supposed to get a week of rain, so that is good and bad. It'll help everything grow, but then I also worry about blight with my tomatoes, especially because they're so full and so thick, that we'll just keep an eye on them. All right, so as you can see, to try to get through here is fun as well. So we're gonna just climb over and around. All right, so there are some of the spaghetti squashes. They're everywhere. There's another one. They're just growing everywhere. Then got some cucumbers. There's one. I'll pick him. So I have cucumbers in here. And then down towards the end are my beans. I planted my beans, not a whole lot this year, and I'm letting them go to seed because I am low on my heirloom seeds. So they're doing well. I may pick some just for a fresh dinner, but yeah, this place is a jungle. It's everywhere you look, it is just covered with stuff. But you know what? That makes me smile. My plants are happy. It makes me happy. So there's another spaghetti squash hiding. All right, we'll take you to the greenhouse. All right, so here she is in all of her glory. I'm gonna miss this when it's cold. I just love being out here. All right. Been getting a lot of strawberries this week. Love strawberries. Ooh. Still have a few onions in. There's my strawberries. I have more strawberries over in my herb garden. They're doing really well. It's my pollinator strip. I have some zinnias in there. Hopefully they'll start blooming soon. My comfrey, lavender, all my pretties. This spring it was full of tulips and daffodils and it was just gorgeous. They just get better every year. Alright, down to the greenhouse where our plum trees are doing well. Our little experiment carrots. Our tomatoes are all the way up to the top. It's 8 foot. And some of them are like so big they're then falling back over and growing back down. So I've pretty much cleared out this whole bed to get ready for fall. Then we have lettuce and cilantro back here, and then all the tomatoes. I think there's 4 in here. I've never grown tomatoes in a greenhouse. I've never had a greenhouse until this year. So they're doing good. I'm happy with it. Hoping I get some red ones soon. I have not had, there's a couple of our onions that are still dry and I took most of them in the house. These are pretty much done. So, yeah, it's been a good season so far. Our corn's tasseled. If we could keep the critters out, that would be great. But, you know, we live in the country. It is what it is. So, sunflowers are doing awesome. All right. Well, thank y'all for going on a garden walk with me. I love showing you what I'm doing. I love keeping track of what I'm doing. I'll be watching these in the winter when it's all cold and snowy. So have a great day and see you soon. Bye.